Hello, welcome back. So in the last class we are talking about water, how precious water it is, how people in some parts of the world suffering because of the scarcity of water, and how in 2025 2 billion people are going to suffer due to lack of water, and what are the reasons that people are suffering like due to suffering due to lack of water. He said overexploitation, excessive use, and unequal distribution, unequal access. Some people have got access to water, some people do not have access to water. And we also said about the three things or three sources from where we get fresh water. What are they? Do you remember? We get from running water, then the precipitation, rain and snowfall, then third one is the groundwater, the water that we get from under the ground. Now let's continue again. You can take page number 25, the second paragraph. So is it possible that an area or region may have ample water resources but is still facing water scarcity? So what do you think? A place has got plenty of water, ample water resources, sufficient water resources are there, but still people of that region are facing water scarcity. Is it possible? Many of our cities are such examples. So that is possible, and it is in our own country, in many of the cities, that is the situation. Thus, water scarcity may be an outcome of large and growing population and consequent greater demands for water and unequal access to it. A large population means more water, not only for domestic use but also to produce more food. So, one reason why we are facing water scarcity is the growing population. The population is growing, and if population is growing, what else also should grow? Naturally, the crops should grow, the food, the quantity of food should grow, isn't it? If 100 people were there early and we need 100 kg of food, just for example, and today 150 people are there, then food also has to increase to 150 kg, isn't it? So to grow that extra food, we need more water, we need to cultivate more, we need to provide water for the growth of the plants and so on. So that is one reason. The growth of population requires more water to produce more food for the growing population. And therefore what happens? People who are living in the cities, we know the cities are being crowded and crowded. There is no place for them to stay. They make big buildings and stay every floor. So they need a lot of water, and water has to be supplied. Nearby place there is no place for making well, so they have to supply water from outside. So they have to go and bring from other sources and supply to all these people who are living in the town and so on. So people require more and more water for producing food and for their daily use and so on. Hence, to facilitate higher food grain production, water resources are being overexploited to expand irrigated areas and dry season agriculture. So in order to meet the food demands of the people, what do the farmers do? They have to do the irrigation. If they cultivate only during the rainy season, then that food is not sufficient for the entire population. So they need to produce more food. So they need to cultivate when there is no rain also. In the dry season also they need to cultivate, and for that they need to supply water, irrigation needs. So they have to bring water from other places, or they have to use groundwater, pump up and make the field wet. So all these are needed. So they are over exploiting it in order to produce more food grains. And you may have seen in many television advertisements, the most farmers have their own wells and tube wells in their farms for irrigation to increase their produce. But have you ever wondered that this could result in, that is, may lead to falling groundwater levels, adversely affecting water availability and food security of the people. So most of the farmers who have got big large farms, They have got many wells in their own ground, their own we can say their own garden where they are cultivating in their own field. So some of them have got big wells, some of them have got two wells. So they can put the water pump and pump out the water and make the garden more fertile, make the crops grow well. So they go on using. When the water is over, what will they do? They make the well deeper and deeper so that they will find water. So the fact that they have to dig deeper and deeper, that shows groundwater level is going down and down. So it is not only in that well it is going down, in all that area water is going down. So people who have got wells, small wells, they will not get water, their well will become dry because other person is going on digging deeper and deeper and taking out water. So it is over exploitation. So after a few years what will happen? The groundwater level will go down and down, and the top land will become more and more dry, and the production also will be less. So very serious problem that we are going to face if this situation is going to continue like this. So we need to be careful, we need to think about our future, and we need to find alternate source of water. Then only we can really survive. Then, post-independent India witnessed intensive industrialization and urbanization, creating vast opportunities for us. Today, large industrial houses are as commonplace as the industrial units of many MNCs, that is, multinational corporations. So, we know when India got freedom, India was in a very miserable state. India did not have enough food to eat, not enough industry for the people to work, people were jobless and so on. So the government initiated a better method of cultivation. We call it using HYV seeds, high yielding variety of seeds. So they used this high yielding variety of seeds to cultivate, and it was producing more. But when we use high yielding variety of seeds, we need to give a lot of inputs. It needs more water to grow, it needs more fertilizer and so on. So more things are required. And also government started many industries to produce different things so that people will get job in these industries. That was another thing that the government did. So because of all these things, what happened? The people began to witness all these changes. When the British were ruling, they did not experience, they did not witness any of these things. But soon after India got independence, the India's own government, so it took initiative to bring development and called many multinational corporations. MNC, it is called MNC, multinational corporation. That means the companies from outside India, they were invited, come and start business, come and start industry in India, so that Indian people can benefit from that. And the ever-increasing number of industries has made matters worse by exerting pressure on existing freshwater resources. So when we call companies from outside and even by Indians, when we start new company, new industry, what do they need to produce things? They need water. So without water we cannot produce anything. Every factory they need a lot of water in order to do their production. Whatever they produce, water is required. So more and more companies started after the independence, and they all required water, and there was a pressure on the land to bring more water, to take out more water from underground and so on. So there was such a pressure on the ground for water. And industries, apart from heavy uses of water, also require power to run them. And much of this energy comes from hydroelectric power. So we said every industry, every business establishments, every factory, they require water in order to produce something. And apart from that, we know all the company will have so many engines. And how do these engines function? They need power. And the power, the electricity, that comes from where? From water. The main source of electricity in India is water. Hydroelectricity, we call it, hydroelectric power. So then we need water again for that in order to produce electricity. And today In India, hydroelectric power contributes approximately 22% of the total electricity produced. So now India has already found out some other sources of power producing electricity. So we don't depend on water so much. We get only 22% of the electricity is coming from water. Hydroelectricity is only 22. So 22% of water is electricity is produced from water. And moreover, multiplying urban centers with large and dense population and urban lifestyle have not only added to water and energy requirements but have further aggravated the problems. So nowadays people want to live where? Village or town. People are looking for town. So they don't like to live in the village. They like to go to town. The town there may not be place for everybody. So what do? They make bigger buildings. So many stories, 5 story, 10 story, 20 story and so big buildings they make and people stay there. So more and more people are coming and living in the towns, in the urban cities, and they need more and more water. When they were staying in the village, there is river is there, stream is there, water was easily available. But when they come to the town, there is no river, no stream flowing through the town. Therefore, they need more water to bring from there and supply and so on. So a lot of pressure is there to use to get sufficient water. And if you look into the housing societies or colonies in the cities, you would find that most of these have their own groundwater pumping devices to meet their water needs. And not surprisingly, we find that fragile water resources are being overexploited and have caused their depletion in several of these cities. So in cities, the housing colonies and so, people who have got big compounds, what do? They dig well there, they have their own well. And so huge number of people will be staying there. In every flat, each family will be staying there. And to meet the entire family's needs, the entire household's needs, they need to pump out so much of water up. And they need to use every day so many liters of water they will be using. So that is coming from the ground. So every day they will be pumping so much of water and the groundwater level is going down and down, and that way after a few years the water level will be very deep, and people who are living nearby, other people who are living with their own family, single families, they will be suffering and they will be lacking water after some time. So when one group of people are over exploiting, they are overusing it, other people are suffering, they do not get even what they require. So these problems are there. So far we have focused on the quantitative aspects of water scarcity. Now let us consider another situation where water is sufficiently available to meet the needs of the people, but the area still suffers from water scarcity. So long we are talking about how much water people are using for irrigation, for household use and so on. And there is no water, therefore they are taking it out from under the earth. From groundwater they are pumping up and using. Now let us talk about another group of people who are suffering from water scarcity. Not because they don't have water nearby, they have water nearby, but they are still facing water scarcity. Let's see how is it possible that living near the water are still facing water scarcity. This scarcity may be due to bad quality of water. So people who are living near the water source, still they are facing water scarcity because they are living in a place or the water source that is near to them is not very pure. The quality is very bad. We cannot use for drinking, cannot use for wiping, for cleaning, washing and so on. So that is the problem. So lately there has been a growing concern that even if there is ample water to meet the needs of the people, much of it may be polluted by domestic and industrial waste, chemicals, pesticides and fertilizers used in agriculture, thus making it hazardous for human use. So that's why people who are living near the water source also is finding difficult to get good water. Maybe the river is flowing near to their house, but the water is very dirty. What is the reason? How do the river water gets dirty? People are throwing all kinds of waste into the river. Some people are connecting their toilet into the river and so on. And people who are using industry nearby, they'll put all their waste channel into this river. All the waste water will be flowing into this river. And also the farmers who are using pesticides, fertilizers in their land. So slowly that will go down into the ground and finally it will reach to the river through the water. So because of all these human activities, the river water gets polluted, the water body gets polluted, and the people, though they are living near to that river, they cannot use it. So that is another serious problem that the people are facing. So we need to be aware about what is the consequences of our action. How these we may think, oh, if I go and throw one bucket of waste there, what is it? Such a big river, nothing will happen. When everybody thinks about that way, and everybody brings their waste and throw into the river, we can see how dirty the river will be. So each one of us will have to be responsible towards our actions, and we have to make sure that the rivers, the water bodies, they are of national property. They are of the national resource, not just for one person alone, but it is meant for the entire people, and therefore we need to be concerned about not only ourselves but also about others. And otherwise, if they use this water, what will happen? The water is already polluted, and if they have no other water, they will be forced to use that water for taking bath, for using at home, for washing clothes, for cooking and so on. And it is hazardous. Hazardous means very dangerous for their life, and they will get sick and so on. So we need to be concerned about one another. Then a short paragraph is given there. India's rivers, especially smaller ones, have all turned into toxic streams. So all the rivers, we have so many rivers in our country, and most of the rivers are small ones. And what happened to these small rivers? They have become toxic streams. Toxic means sending out gas. Water, from the water, the gas is coming out. When do the gas come out? When there is a chemical reaction, isn't it? You have studied chemistry, and so lot of chemicals are pushed into this river from the factory and from the garden. The fertilizers, the pesticides, all these are chemicals. They are all slowly entering into the river, and lot of chemical reaction is taking place into this river, and that's why toxic gas, poisonous gas is coming out from these small rivers in our country because of our dumping waste into this river. So, and even the big ones like the Ganga, Yamuna are far from being pure. You hear all these days about cleaning Ganga, isn't it? The government has got a big project to clean up Ganga river. For Indians, the Ganga river is a very precious, sacred river, but they go and throw all their waste there, they go and take bath there, then drop all the dirt there, and the river has become so polluted. So though they call it a sacred river, it has become such a polluted river, and therefore not only the small rivers in India are emitting toxic gases, but even the bigger rivers are very, we can say, dirty and polluted. The assault on India's rivers, that means we are attacking our rivers, we are challenging our rivers by throwing waste into that. From population growth, agricultural modernization, urbanization and industrialization. So how are we challenging the rivers? By population growth. When more population is growing up or coming up, we are challenging the river. We give us more water, we need more water. Then people who are doing this agriculture, they are also challenging the river. Give me more water for my field to be irrigated. Then urbanization. When we start city, they need a lot of water. And also industrialization. When we start a new industry, they also need a lot of water. So the demand is increasing for water, but the water does not increase. The water remains same, and that same water is also getting polluted. So the good water is becoming lesser and lesser. So that is a big challenge for the water resources to satisfy the human needs. So the assault on India's rivers is enormous and growing day by day. So the attack that we do, the challenging that we give to our rivers, it is enormous. It's a very huge, large, and we are doing it every day in our life. And this entire life stands threatened. So if the water is not available, the fresh water is not available, what happens? And the whole life is threatened. It remains threatened. Nobody can claim that even if there is no water, also nothing, I will survive. Can anybody say? No. Without food you may survive for a few more days, but without water I don't think. You may die. A person who does not eat, he may live longer, but a person who does not drink water, he will die faster. So water is very essential for us, and therefore we need to realize that our own existence is threatened if we are not careful, and we are all going to perish. So we need to be careful, we need to be aware about the importance of river and our need for making clean water, pure water available. And you may have already realized that the need of the hour is to conserve and manage our water resources, to safeguard ourselves from health hazards, to ensure food security, continuation of our livelihoods and productive activities, and also to prevent degradation of our natural ecosystems. Therefore, we come to the solution. Solution is water conservation. We need to conserve water. We need to preserve water for future use. We should not just think, today I need water, I am not worried about tomorrow. Then we are living in a fool's world. We need to be aware about the future existence, and for that we need to conserve water for the future purpose. How can we conserve? So we need to conserve and manage our water resources. So whatever water we have, the little water that we have, clean water that we have, we need to manage properly, not just for today but also for tomorrow. Then we need to safeguard ourselves from health hazards. We need to safeguard, we need to protect ourselves from health problems. If you are using dirty water, polluted water, then we are going to get sick. Your health is going to become weak. And then we need to ensure food security. So at the same time we also need to have irrigate our field. We need to produce enough food for feeding all the people. So that is also there. Then continuation of our livelihoods. At the same time, human life should continue. If you say water is not important, then after a few years there will be no more lives on this earth. So life also should continue. So all these things are required. And productive activity, continuation of our livelihoods and productive activity. That means we need to factory. Productive activity is taking place in the factories. No? So we need to have factories. We need to provide them water. And what else? And also prevent degradation of our natural ecosystems. So if you use all these chemicals in the water and throwing the waste into the water, what happens? We said there is the chemical gas is forming, and that is released into the atmosphere, and the air gets polluted, and the ecosystem where we are living, it will affect the animals in the river, it will affect the trees, it will affect the air, all that. So our health system also will be polluted and will be affected. So we need to see all these things. We cannot say we have to keep water for the future, so we will stop all the other activities. Then our life will be in danger again. So we need cultivation to provide food for the people. We need industrialization to provide job for the people and also to produce necessary things for the country. And also we need to check our health. We need to protect the environment. So all these things are required, and we cannot simply do it away at the expense of water resources. So we need to protect the water, at the same time we need to do other activities also. So we need to have proper planning, we need to have proper guidance how to do all these things, how to manage the water for the future purpose and so on. That is very important. So over exploitation and mismanagement of water resources will impoverish this resource and cause ecological crisis that may have profound impact on our lives. So if you are not taking care of the water resources, what will happen? It will cause ecological crisis. The ecology where we are living, the environment, everything will be affected. We will not be having good air to breathe. Before the lockdown, the quality of the air was very low. Now, because of the lockdown, all the vehicles stopped. They were no more running the vehicle, and the air quality has improved a lot. Now we are able to breathe better air, pure air. And once the lockdown is over, all the vehicles will be start running, and the smoke that comes out from there, the air gets polluted, and the health will be affected again. It is the same thing with water. And the water is polluted, the chemicals are mixed into it, a lot of chemical gases are released into the air, and we breathe that air and we get sick and so on. So we will have a lot of problems if the water is polluted. Therefore, it is our responsibility to take care of it and make sure we need to secure that the water resources in India are kept safe and they are no more not destroyed at all. So I hope you understood about the importance of keeping the water resources. Conservation of the water resource does not mean that we keep the water without using. No, we use water, but at the same time we use it very carefully, without exploiting, without overusing, without wasting and so on. So everything should go on. Other activities also should go on. At the same time, we should not make the water resources to suffer. We should not pollute them. We should not overuse them. We should not exploit them. Make it available for all the people. That is how we can preserve the water, we can save the water, and it will be conserved for the use of future as well, so that our future generations also will be safe. So I hope you have understood it. So we'll meet again in the next class. For today we shall wind it up. And so thank you for listening.